What's up, everyone? No, seriously, what's up? Let me know how you're doing. I love interacting with everybody who follows all these videos on my YouTube page. Let me know what's going on in the comments of this video. All right, let's hop to it. I'm DJ LaFave, your audio visual solutions specialist, ready to here to give you this awesome tutorial that will let you control Voicemeeter from your phone. In addition to just controlling it from your phone, that includes muting and sending and routing audio, you can also turn it into a killer soundboard. Check it out.
Yeah, boy!
Haha, that's my boy Flavor Fave. All right, this is DJ LaFavor Fave here right now with you. So that was all controlled from my phone, and I'm using a couple of things right now. The couple of things that I'm using, well, guess what? You can learn everything that I'm saying here on this video is also going to be on my website, djlafave.com, and this is the Voicemeeter remote control tutorial. You're going to find this in a link in the description of this video. So everything I'm going to go over today in this video is also written down and laid out for you. So you're going to have all of the codes, all of the step-by-step instruction of where you got to go, what you need to type, and how you need to make it with examples. Examples, yeah, everything that I'm doing, I've also included some configuration files for you inside of this in this link, and I'll add this additional link in the description, is the resource pack. So when you click on the resource pack, it brings you here. It's $0, so don't worry about having to pay anything. This is just a way that I use, just kind of track the downloads and whatnot. So add it to the cart, download it, and then you're gonna get a configuration file, three different configuration files, which we will get to. So let's hop into this lesson, shall we? All right. So lesson. This is what you're gonna need. You're going to need Voicemeeter. Zoom in for you right there. You need Voicemeeter, and then we're gonna have this other tool called the macros button tool, which installs automatically with Voicemeeter Banana and Voicemeeter Potato. In addition to that, we are going to use a software called Bitfocus Companion. And on my webpage, again, there's a companion section that tells you I got install guides for how to install this software and how to install some of the instances that we're going to use. So don't let this all blow your mind, right? It will take you some time to configure it up front. Hopefully this lesson will help you configure it quicker. So the first thing that you have to do in order to make this whole thing work is you need to start with Voicemeeter, right? And we need to configure the macros. So the macros is basically scripting code inside of Voicemeeter macros, which then sends, like, you can hit Alt and 1 at the same time, and it's going to activate one of these buttons. And then these buttons are going to control your Voicemeeter application. So for an example right here, just to show you, you see this mute button right down here? Got this little circle right there. There's a little mute button. That's on my A2 stack. So right here, I have a macro set up for that. And right here on my phone in the same location, so you got one up here, and then my mouse isn't going over, but there you go. On my phone, it says mic on. When I click on this button, bam, you see down here, it now says mute. So the mic is off. When I click on it again, the mic turns back on, and our settings are good to go. So that is basically what I'm going to teach you how to do. All right. So you download everything. There's some resource packs that we'll get into later, but I want to show you how to do this essentially from scratch. So you're going to open up Voicemeeter. That's this application right here if you haven't used it. If you don't know, now you know. All right, so open up Voicemeeter, and then you're going to open up the Voicemeeter macros tool. Now, if this is the first time for you using the macros tool, it's as simple as clicking menu and clicking the macro buttons run on Windows Start. That will, you need to do this anyway. You need to have the macros start when you open up your Windows computer. Additionally, it will just open up the window for the first time here. Other than that, the other way to get to it is to just go to Start, Program Files, VB Audio, and the Macros button. All right, the Macros tool. So you're going to get a screen that looks similar to this, although it's going to be blank. I've got some stuff already pre-configured in here for you that you'll be able to start up from this mode as well. How do you do that? Well, the first thing you're going to do is you're going to download that resources file. You're going to right click on the top up here, and you're going to say load button map. And then you're just going to surf over to where you downloaded that file to. Here it's going to be in a Voicemeeter folder. So Voicemeeter folder, and it's called Companion Example XML. When you load that up, you're going to get a one-for-one of everything that I'm showing you right here. So you have like real-time examples of all of these things that we're going through. So let's start with muting your mic. So the first thing you need to do is set up a button. So I'm going to show you one that's already set up. You go to this button right here, mute mic. We'll do the A2 mute mic. That is the second stack here, this A2 hardware. We're going to right click on that. You put the title in there. I put A2 mute, and then I'm going to call it a toggle in the sub file, right? Button sub name. So when you look on this thing, it says A2 mute, and then you got toggle. So you can get creative however you'd like with that. You can change the button color from one of 9 colors, including the default. And for this specific example, it is going to be a two position button, meaning we're going to push the button once and it's going to activate the mute, and then we're going to push the button again and it's going to deactivate the mute. That's right here. The other one is a push button, which I'm going to get into later. That's how you can increase the gain or the volume and lower the gain or the volume. All right, and then you assign it to a keyboard shortcut. And there's your right now we're doing Control and F1 key, just to throw a key out there. Okay, so this might all look very foreign to you. It looks like really crazy scripting and all that. Let me break it down. Super simple. Okay, to show you, we're going to go to the web page that I created for you all to follow along with. And when you look at this this picture right here, this breaks down the kind of the areas of Voicemeeter. In this example, it's banana. They start their everything that you do as an input. So all the hardware inputs and virtual inputs, that's everything to the left of a cassette tape. If you're born after 1990, go Google cassette tape. It looks like this thing right here. It was really fun taking the tape out and let it fly back behind your bus when you're riding to school. Like this video if you remember doing that. All right, or taking the little pencil and winding it back up. All right, so I digress. In Voicemeeter, everything to the left of the cassette tape is an input. You've got hardware inputs and you've got virtual inputs. They are known as strips, right? But instead of making this make sense for the common person and calling the first strip strip 1, they're using computer lingo, and this is strip 0. And it's written as strip, parenthesis, 0, close parenthesis. So whenever I want to activate any action for the first strip, it's going to be strip 0. The second strip is strip 1. The third strip is strip 2, all the way on out. So if you had Voicemeeter potato, you would just continue this numbering to strip 5, 6, and 7 because there are 8 on potato. You see right down here, there's 8. Now, it's the same for the buses. Buses are outputs. So whether you have a hardware configured for an output like a speaker, that would be your A1, A2, A3, or if you're doing virtual out, like you're sending your audio out to OBS, that is VAIO, aux, and then if you have potato, you get another one, and it's called VAIO 3. So those are bus 0 all the way on up to 7 if you have potato. So to recap, hardware 1 is strip 0. So that's the first part of the code that we're going to need to work with right here. And we're working with strip 2 right now, which is right here. So you guessed it, that is strip parenthesis 1. So hardware input 2 is strip 1. All right. So you don't always have to do initial state. I have this configured to say for strip 1, we're going to go period mute equals nothing. So you're telling it the initial state, we're going to put a 0 in here. So whenever your computer starts up, you're going to have the mute turned off. In computer lingo, 0 is off, 1s are on. That's important distinction to note right here. Now, right here, you have strip 1, mute equals 0. So when we push the button, we want the mute to be off, and that goes with the code later on that I'm going to show you in Bitfocus. And when I push it a second time, we're going to turn the mute on. And then when I push it again, it goes off. Now, all of this probably seems like a lot to have to remember, But I created a install guide for you here that actually does the scripting and coding for you. And it's going to be another one of these configuration files. And I'm going to pull it up right here. Just got to find out which page I put it on. There we go. So on this page right here, you can configure all of your scripting without having to know anything that I just told you. Okay, nothing. You don't have to remember any of it. So check out how this works. We're going to delete this right here, and I'm going to say I've got these in order right here. So you see strip 0, 1, 2. They correspond with your hardware inputs. So when I press, I have the mouse in here. I'm going to hit strip 1, and look, it types for you. Strip 1 puts already in the code. All right, for strip 1, I want to mute, so I'm going to hit this mute button, and oops, I hit the A1 button. We're going to say strip 1 mute. Click on the mute. What? You always got to remember what you did here, right? So mute, I actually have written as A1. We'll get that fixed up in the file that goes out there. All right, that is that has been fixed. So let's go back to the macro button, and now I'm going to push the mute button, and it's going to say mute, and then we're going to say equals 0. And then on the next line, we are going to say for strip 1, right? It types it out for us. We want it to mute, so we click the mute button. And then we're going to say turn it on. All right. So this is now when you actually push this button. Let me bring up Voicemeeter right now. So Voicemeeter is now open. I want to save this by clicking OK. To test this, when I push this button, you are going to see this mute button turn on. So there we go. Button on, the mute is off. Button off, the mute is on. So as long as you understand the general concept behind this, that is the real goal of this. And hopefully the words on the page in my website help make a whole lot more sense for you if this video does seem confusing. Really take your time and ask questions, because I may be taking for granted some of the stuff that I've already known by really diving into this. All right, so the next one we're going to look over here is in the top right. It's called the volume plus button. So I'm going to right click on that button, and basically I typed in for the button name volume plus. This is a push button, so anytime I push this button, or I set the Alt and 2 key, so when I press Alt and 2, the volume on bus 0 is going to go up, and then that's all you want for this. You want it to go up at 3 dB at a time. Now, I also have this hard-coded in here where you can add the gain as +3 or -3 within my configuration file. So bus 0 is over here. Now, when I push this button on my remote app, you're going to see down here this go up. See it go up? It's going up, going up. I'm turning the volume up. Now, if I want to turn the volume down, instead of a plus, you got to put a minus in there. And we did that on this button. So this button now is a minus. So when I push that button, we'll just do it from this screen right here. I'm pushing it. The volume goes down. So you have to set up your macros first. That is the first and foremost thing that you have to do. The final item I'll show you is how to do a soundboard item. Did you know this cassette tape also plays stuff for you? So when we hit the cassette tape and we right click on the cassette tape, this little setting bar comes up. The only thing that you have to do in here is make sure that play on load is selected as yes. Just that is the default, but we're going to make sure when you click on it that is set as yes. Now we're going to tell Voicemeeter that we want to upload a song file or an MP3 file, and then we want it to play when we push it. And then when we push the button again, we want it to stop. So for short sounds, you probably don't want to do the stop, but say you had some intro music for your podcast and you want to just play it right from here off your phone. So I'm going to show you how to do that. Let's go back to the macros, and we're going to go into sound 1, which, if you remember, is this explosion. And I cut it short. See how quickly you can just toggle it on and off right there? So right click on this button, and what you're going to want to type in the request for button on, it's a 2-position button, recorder.load equals, and then in parentheses, the file path to your song file. Now, there's a shortcut in Windows to obtain your file path. So right here, you can just hold the shift button down, right click, and then get out of my way, phone. We're going to right click, and you see copy as path right there. So when you copy as a path, we'll go back to the one that this actually is. So we'll go big explosion, right click on it, copy as path. And then when I go into here, I'm just going to show you on a new line, and I hit Control V, it copies the entire file path for you to put in after load. Now, that specific sound file comes in hot. It comes in really hot. So what I'm doing is I'm doing recorder.gain equals -20. I am dropping the dB 20 dB, 20 decibels to lower the volume when I play that. So to show you what that looks like, we're going to cancel out of here, go back into the cassette tape, and you'll see right here that I'm going to have it set all the way up. Now, when I push this button, you're going to see the playback gain turn down. See that? The playback gain turned down. That way you are setting your decibels. Now, the next one I have set as 0 dB. So when I click on it,
Yeah, boy!
it goes up to 0 dB. Very simple operation there. Now, how do you get this out to OBS? If you are sending your audio out on auxiliary VAIO, that is B1. So just make sure this B1 is selected inside of Voicemeeter. If you're sending it out over aux, select B2. So in a nutshell, those are all of the basically how to throw. You have to configure your macro buttons first. After your macro buttons are configured and they are good to go, then we're going to head over to Bitfocus, which you already have to have installed. Check out the links in my blog post that bring you to other installation files. Now, if you already have Bitfocus installed, well, then you're in luck. Here we go. We're going to show you how to add these buttons. So right now I have this page, which you are going to have. Say you don't have this page. You've downloaded the resource pack. So how do I add that resource pack page in here? First and foremost, you have to have one instance installed. That instance is called Vicrio Hotkey. To add Vicrio Hotkey, you would just go Vicrio, and then right there you click Add. And then it tells you how you have to install it and add it. Make sure that it's on your computer. And the actual application file looks like this. That's very, very simple. What this does is it allows it to take hotkeys from that you're pushing from your button from a remote place, and it activates them on your computer. That's really all this does. Very, very simple tool. So as long as you have this Vicrio hotkey, status is okay, and it's installed, we can move on to the next step. We're going to go to buttons. On this button page, you're going to upload two files. So this first page, we'll call this page 94. I'm going to say up here, import, export. And we're going to import a configuration file, which you got in your pack. The first one that you're gonna upload is the Voicemeeter page example, and we're gonna click open. And then it's going to ask which two instances do you want. You want to have Vicrio Hotkey and My Bad. The reason why HTTP is also in here is because I'm using some advanced configurations to allow the color and text to change on the actual button. So you would just add generic HTTP requests in instances, and again, that's all shown in my installation guides. So you make sure that these are selected because that's what's tied to on these buttons, and we're going to say import to page 94 right now, and we'll click OK. So now all those buttons appear on here. Better than that, all of the configurations that I've already done are in here. I'll go into very, very high level of how this works, but you can really dig into it from the blog post to see how this is all going down. So for this button right here, you're gonna have a Vicrio hotkey combination that correlates back to the Voicemeeter macro settings that you already had set up. So here it's Control and F1. So when I push this button one time, it's going to press Control and F1. And then here is some HTTP GET requests. We're going to change the background color and we're going to change the text. The one thing that I want you to note right here is this is the only area that you'll have to change. The first number is the page. The second number is the button number. So if you want this feature to work, right now we're on page 94 and that's button 3. So I would have to change it to 94 button 3 for that to work. Um, so this is what the installation guide is going to get you. Now, those other quick configuration buttons that I gave you, let's check them out. I'm going to go to a blank page. I'm going to import that configuration file, and we're going to click import, and then that import file is the Ficreo input page companion configuration file. We're going to click OK right there. And right here it says make sure you have this instance installed, and that will tie back to all of these keys. So we say import to this page. Now, what does this do? I'm glad you asked. We are on page 93. So let me pull up a notepad file just to showcase this. So when I push this first one, which says hot single key, it's going to type out hot single key, and then it's going to press enter. Why is that important? Well, when we are now installing or configuring our buttons for Voicemeeter, it just makes things go a little bit faster. So right here on the key down action, I want to add a combination key. So I click this combo button and it's going to type combination key and it's going to press enter. And now it's already set up for us. So that's a little quick hack for you, just to add the Ficreo hotkey combination button. And then you can configure this as you need to. So I know I covered a lot. I wanted to show you that this can be done, and it really isn't that difficult once you dive into it. All of this is written down. All of the things that you need to type are included in the blog post. So I just wanted to showcase this capability for you, and see if you have some fun with it. If you have any questions, I'm always available to help. I love helping people achieve great things through technology. The best part about all of this, 100% free, unless you upgrade to Voicemeeter Potato, then it's like 30 bucks, which in the scheme of things, small potatoes. Get it? All right. So that's the overview. That's the kind of, hey, look, now I can control this from my phone. So if I'm streaming, I can control my sound from my phone. And I think that's a pretty cool feature to have. I think Voicemeeter themselves actually charge for this feature with a built-in app, but with about 60 minutes of keeping your head down and focusing and doing the work here, you too can have control of your Voicemeeter to include a soundboard on your app. I'm DJ LaFave. I'm here to help you with whatever you need. If you want to hook up with a Zoom Zoom session to go over your settings, then if I got the time, I'm here for you. In addition to that, if you found this helpful or at least educational, like, subscribe. Those all help with the YouTube algorithms. And furthermore, if you want to buy me a cup of coffee, help support my habit, then djlafave.com/donate. All right, that's it for now. Hope this is helpful. Hope you guys all enjoyed this. Until next time, DJ LaFave out.